Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 713, written by SS Destiel. When everyone remembers your mother dying, not your father. I work in the admitting department of my local hospital, and I also help the business office with miscellaneous billing duties. One of the things I do is keep track of obituaries. When someone's obituary appears in the newspaper, I check to see if they still owe the hospital money. If they do, I clip the obit, fill out a form, and then keep track of how their insurance pays and whatnot. A few years ago, I've worked there 20 plus years. One of my coworkers in the dietary department retired and passed away soon after. I know because I processed her obituary. This coworker's daughter was really good friends with my cousin, so the daughter was even over at my cousin's house the day after my coworker's funeral. They had a big wake for her mother and everything. Today, as I'm working ER registration, the daughter comes in and says her mom is in the ER. I was brought up short. I thought, what? I didn't say anything for a moment, so my office mate had to step in for me and look up this lady's mother. Sure as hell, it's the mother who died years ago. My office mate lets the daughter back into the ER to see her mom, and I am unable to find the obit form I filled out. I heard back from my cousin, and he's as weirded out as I am. Coworker's daughter has no memory of the wake or anything, but she said she's been getting this stuff from the people around her for the past few days. People remember her mom dying, even funeral details and the like, but a coworker's daughter doesn't remember any of it. Plus, her mom is right there. It's freaky. Spoke with my cousin instead of texting him. Coworker's daughter said it was her dad that died and not her mom. But she also said that's not the way any of the people who run into her remember it. They're asking where her dad is, how he is today. He's not answering his phone or texts, etc. And to her, the man has been dead over 10 years. I've been asked if I had any close calls or moments where I couldn't slip from one universe to another, and yes, there was one. It was a little over 2 years ago. I was getting my evening medications together, but I was tired and screwed them up. I ended up taking the entire full bottle of glipizide, which is a medication that lowers your blood sugar. I accidentally took enough to kill a horse. I realized it right as I laid down for a nap due to extreme exhaustion, and I felt really weird going to sleep. Looking back on it, I think I fell asleep forever, there, and woke up here. Case notes for file 713. My father died, not my mother. So there's evidence here that points to two different types of glitches, but they don't quite add up together. So when you overconsumed glipizide, I think is what you called it, the medication that controls your blood sugar. If you took enough to kill a horse, then I don't see how you would have survived. More likely you did indeed die and were transposed to a different universe. If this happened, it would explain you remembering something that didn't happen, but it wouldn't explain how so many people in your coworker's daughter's life also misremember it. Why do so many people think it was her mother that died and not her father? If it's simply a glitch of quantum immortality, you're in a different universe and something is different, well, it wouldn't reflect in this way where other people are also misremembering. It's like a localized, regional Mandela effect in real time. And I don't know what would cause that. But it does make me think, what if quantum immortality, when we die, what if people nearby to us, people we're connected with, if they die in a similar time frame, maybe their consciousnesses go to the same new alternate universe that you go to. I wonder who decides this. Is it some sort of programming within the universe? Or are there server mods that look at who are dying and they compare them to their family tree, their friends, people that are close, and those people that are close, if they die, they go to the same new universe as the first person. It would make some degree of sense to keep people connected, keeping those bonds alive. Bonus file, written by RichieFingers99. We all need to be reminded to love. A few weeks after my dad died, I woke up one night and he was standing at the foot of my bed. He didn't move or speak, he just stood there with a little smile. I was obviously surprised and still half asleep, so my response was, "What are you doing here? You're dead." I realize this sounds like an odd thing to say to a recently deceased parent, but my dad and I were best friends and shared a sense of humor where we could never offend each other. He worshipped the ground I walked on, and I his. We loved each other completely. If I'd said that to him while alive, I'd have gotten a big laugh in response. I sat there looking at him for a minute, confused, thinking, nah, this is all just a dream, and then laid down and went back to sleep. The following afternoon, I got a call from my sister. I could tell straight away from the cracked tone in her voice that it wasn't just a random call. I almost knew why she was calling. We exchanged pleasantries, and then I say, I dreamt about Dad last night. Without hesitation, she replies, he came to see you too, didn't he? She'd had the exact same dream. She woke up and he was standing at the foot of her bed with a cheeky little smile on his face. A few years earlier, my mom had died from cancer, and I wasn't taking it very well. I was 19 at the time and spiraling. I'd randomly started crying and was struggling to cope. I'd often hold it in during the day and wait for my girlfriend to go to bed before having a little cry by myself on the sofa. So I'm sitting there on the sofa one night, head on my knees, looking down at the floor, quietly sobbing, when I assumed my girlfriend was walking in the room. It was near Christmas and we'd been wrapping presents, so there was wrapping paper on the floor. She stood next to me on top of the wrapping paper, making a crinkling noise, and put her hand on the back of my head. I wipe the tears away and say, I'm okay. I'm coming to bed. Then I look up, and there's nobody there. My girlfriend was still sound asleep in the next room. God, I miss them. If you're lucky enough to have parents that are still alive, cherish every last second with them. I didn't realize in writing this that I'd have to relive the emotions I felt at the time. I've shed a few tears tonight. As the years pass, I suppose we all just get on with life and try to ignore the things that cause us pain. We have to, I guess. I'd forgotten how much I missed them and what wonderful people they were. It's good to be reminded. Bonus file, written by Armored Meerkat. The ghost of my husband saved my life. The ghost of my husband saved my life. My husband passed away suddenly in 2006, in January. I was cooped up, coping with my loss most of the spring and summer. My friends told me to take some time off and have a road trip. I agreed. I decided to drive from Michigan to Chicago. I started to arrange hotels, look up routes, and so on. There were no smartphones and DLS was just catching on. Anytime I tried to check hotels, my modem died on me and had to be reset. I became frustrated and yelled, "Don't you dare mess with my car." The day before the trip, I was getting ready to go to work and was at the door when I heard a loud boom. The area was not the best neighborhood, so I assumed it was a gunshot or a car backfired. I got into my car and pulled out of the driveway. Suddenly, I hear the dreaded fleka sound of a flat tire. I have no spare tire, so I had to call a friend to ask for a ride to work. Later that afternoon, I took the flat tire to get a new one. When the mechanic looked at the tire, he told me that I was very lucky. It was totally worn out, but it was not visible from the outside. If I would have gotten on the road with that tire, I might not have made it back alive. When I got back home, I thanked my husband's spirit for saving my life.